Everyone, you all are most welcome in this class. Here we will discuss eminent scientist of sociology, Emile Durkheim. Emile Durkheim. It accent is both Emile Durkheim in Hindi as well as Emile Durkheim. So Emile Durkheim is the real accent. Life and works of Emile Durkheim. He is a French scientist. After Auguste Comte, Emile Durkheim is perhaps the most significant French social thinker whose contribution to sociological thought can hardly be underestimated. The core of Durkheim's approach is sometimes described as sociological realism. You must remember this. This can be asked in UGC NET. In the sense that he ascribed ultimate social reality to the group. Social reality is the most important, and he always referred to society. He do not pay attention upon the individual. He always give priority to social group or society. So that is why sociological realism. The sociological realism related to the group, not to be individual. So must remember. You must remember this line, not the individual. In this respect, Durkheim's views were similar to those of Gombrowicz, although he was the latter works. His theory, individualism and nominalize, for Durkheim maintains that social facts are irreducible to individual facts. Emile Durkheim, one of the most important pioneers in the field of sociology, was born in 1858 at Eqbal in France. Auguste Comte died in 1857 and Emile Durkheim was born in 1858. He is recognized as one of the greatest social thinkers and academic sociologists of France who has developed sociological concepts, methodology, theories, and so on. He graduated at the École Normale, taught sociology at the University of Bordeaux, and then lectured on education and sociology in the Sorbonne from 1902 up to till his death in 1917. During his stay at Bordeaux, Durkheim completed several major sociological work, including the division of labor in society, the rules of sociological method, and society. In 1893, he published his French doctoral thesis, The Division of Labor in Society, the Rules of Sociological Society, as the Latin thesis on Montesquieu. His methodological work, The Rule of Sociological Method, was empirical application of those methods in the society in 1897. The other of his most famous work, The Elementary Form of Religious Life, the age of 59, he had produced a large body of scholarly work and founded one of more 19th century. He is best known for founding sociology, scientific discipline, and for defining the boundaries of its subject matter. Durkheim had a profound influence not only in the department of sociology, but anthropology, history, linguistics, and psychology also. In fact, much of his impact on other fields came through the journal Lani Sociology, which is founded in 1898, and intellectual circles arose around the journal with Durkheim at its center. The central theme of Durkheim was based on the view of the individual autonomy grows only at the expense of the collective force of society. The core of Durkheim's approach is termed as social realism. Durkheim has given more emphasis on ultimate sociological reality to the group rather than to the individual. Here he states that society is sui generis, means self-evaluated, that is a reality in itself. In keeping with the tradition of 19th century thinkers such as Saint Simon Auguste Comte, Spencer, etc., Durkheim also believes that this is new science of society must be studied and interpreted on the basis of natural science, method and approach. In the same way, Auguste Comte has told, Spencer told, in the same way. Important sociological work, Division of Labor and Society, 1893, The Rules of Sociological Method, 1895, Suicide, 1897, The Elementary Form of Religious Life, 1912, Institution Analysis, 1978, Primitive Classification, 1903. So, first of all, we will discuss about social fact. The most important for understanding Durkheim, we must understand the social fact. Without everything is based on social fact, according to Durkheim. Durkheim has defined sociology as a science of social fact. Social facts are fundamental base of his sociological thought. Durkheim explains social fact in Rules of Sociological Method. It is also asked in so many times in competitive exam like UGC NET. So what are the base of social fact? What is social fact? Rules of sociology, and where it is mentioned Rule of Sociological Method. Durkheim interpretation of social fact is an important constituent of its methodology. It is the important constituent of its methodology. According to him, a social fact is a phase of behavior, thinking, feeling, acting, which can objectively be observed and has a coercive or compelling nature. Coercive nature. It's coercive in the sense that collective consciousness based on collective consciousness. So that is coercive means forceful. Specifically differ from individual consciousness. That social fact belong to category of collective consciousness, and that this collective consciousness, collective capacity of endowed with a power to impose its authority upon the individual members regardless of their individual desire. But in this connection, Durkheim is pointedly precise that a social fact is not purely psychological fact. It is not a psychological fact. Thus, Durkheim draws to line of demarcation, one between collective consciousness and individual consciousness, and the other between a social fact and purely psychological fact. For this purpose, he introduced two objective criteria, exteriority and constraint. Durkheim places great importance on his definition of social fact in terms of exteriority and constraint. Durkheim actually, if we want to conclude the social fact has three characteristics: generality, exteriority and constraint. Although it is very unfortunate that the precise meaning of criteria has never been clear yet from his fundamental methodological postulate, social fact must be treated as things. Durkheim infers that social fact must possess two important characteristics of a thing. It must be exterior and not identical with the idea in the mind of the individual, and it must be impose a certain constraint on him. In other words, exteriority refers to the fact that social fact exists outside or exterior to individual consciousness. So it is not in the individual consciousness. Suppose there is religion of Hindu religion or Christianity. This is not the individual, this is the social, not individual property. In short, social facts have constraining influence over the individual mind while remaining exterior to it. Two substantive doctrine of exteriority of social fact is identical with agelic realism, which asserts that society is a reality sui generis above and apart from the individual. The evidence adduced by Durkheim in defense of this doctrine is four main types. The first is alleged heterogeneity of individual and collective states of mind. Thus, it is asserted that in a time of national danger, the intensity of the collective feeling of a platform is most greater than that of individual feeling. The second type of argument stresses the difference in individual attitude and behavior which results from the group situation. Crowd, the individual think, feel and act in a crowd in a different fashion, and then think Durkheim that anew to react upon the sentiments and behavior of the individual. So in the crowd, there is crowd consciousness. The third type of evidence is supplied by the uniformities of social statics. For instance, many types of social facts like crime, marriage, suicide shows a surprising degree of numerical consistency, sometimes maintaining uniformity in rate of change. A fourth line of argument is based on optical theory of emergence. In this context, Durkheim interprets that we must assume that society is not reducible to the proportion of individual mind, but that it constitutes a reality sui generis which emerge out of the collection of interaction of individual mind. The other characteristics of social fact, the constant which exercise over the individuals, may be viewed as a simple corollary of its externality. The social fact being real, external from that of the individual environment, and expends upon him a certain constraint. Certain constraint means force. The hallmark of an independent reality is the resistance. It opposed to our volitions and counter pressure. It exerts our behavior. Moreover, the aspect of social constraints enter into the direct experience of the individual. On the basis of above, Durkheim defines social fact as a social fact is every way acting, fixed, or not capable of exercising on the individual and external constraint. He further asserts that social fact consists of ways of acting, thinking, feeling external to the individual and endowed with power and coercion by reason of which control him. So there is power. Furthermore, in the following quotation, Durkheim's definition of social fact has been more: these are ways of acting, thinking and feeling that present the noteworthy property of existing outside the individual consciousness. Social facts are two kinds, normal and pathological. The normal social facts work toward integrating and solidarity of social life, while the pathological social facts operate adversely, that is, toward the disintegration of social life. Social facts are observable in the form of various morals, religious, judicial, and logical rules and sets of customary belief and thought. Social facts are thus the product of the collective consciousness, and as the collective consciousness is far superior to individual consciousness, social facts always work for the welfare of the individual. Thus, the social fact have a moral basis and prescribes some duties for every individual to perform. The performance of these duties is essential in the greater interest of the society. An analysis of social fact, therefore, must first be attempted in any pertinent interpretation of social phenomena. In brief, Durkheim's discussion on rules of sociological method tries to find out a scientific method to study science of sociology. For this, he identified the notion of social fact and laid down rules for their observation, classification and explanation. In addition, he also focused on the approaches to explain social facts and logic of explanation. In Rules of Sociological Method, Durkheim outlined various types of social fact. Society. Lastly, the relevance of comparative method in the field of social science. So, in conclusion, we can understand social facts has three characteristics. Generality, it is general for all members of society. Generality. And constraint. It exerts the pressure for controlling to the individual, and exteriority means it is not an individual, it is out of individual consciousness, means social consciousness. There is social consciousness in social fact, like society, religion, like anything. Now we will discuss about the theory of division of labor. That is very important, and this is the name of his book, and the research work which has been done by Emile Durkheim. It is published in 1893. The second part of Durkheim book, De la division du travail, social, this is in French language, deals with this, his theory of division of labor, and provides us with the analysis of the nature of cause of division of labor. The earliest division of labor was essentially on the basis of sex. It is asked many times UGC NET. In the hunting and fruit gathering stage, the male members of the family used to go out for hunting, hetmans of subsistence, where the female were left behind to look after the family and for rearing and caring for the children. But with the cultural development of human society and with the advent of new economic and hence occupational fields, labor became repeatedly further and subdivided. And our modern societies are not only characterized by increasing division of labor, but also a specialization of labor. Increasing division of labor and specialization have a direct correlation with the increasing density of population. So population is more important. Durkheim said that due to population division of labor comes, and due to division of labor specialization comes. This has correlation between division of labor and specialization with population. In simple society with comparatively lesser number of people, and the necessity of division of labor specialization less felt because of the self-sufficient of nature must write this of the group and family. But as the group grow in size and become more and more complex, the services of the experts and require the division of labor in larger scale. Operation become imperative in accordance with the division of labor. A variety of interest group originate which ultimately breeds the causes of social conflict, particularly the industrial conflict. Consequently, unanimity of public opinion, mental and moral homogeneity, individuals, or in short, mechanical unity, solidarity, and like-mindedness, no more characteristic social life. Society then gives increasing importance of personality, proceeds towards a contractual and liberal stage. There is, so to say, a drift from mechanical solidarity to organic solidarity caused by division of labor. So this is very important for examination also. The mechanical solidarity to organic solidarity, society change mechanical solidarity to organic solidarity. The reason behind it, division of labor. Division of labor is the reason by which society change from simple to complex. Mechanical solidarity is the simple society, and organic solidarity is complex society. Societies whose solidarity is mechanical are based on common roots of identity, similarity, the undifferentiated social structure, and little or no division of labor. In this society, the individual is directly linked to society through various points of attachment, which act to bind all the members of the group together equally. The force of these social links is such as to discourage individual autonomy, and social whole envelops and the individual so completely that there is no distinction between the individual consciousness and collective consciousness. In brief, organic solidity is characterized by increase in density of society due to expansion of population, the growth of cities, and the development of means of transportation and communication. The main characteristics of organic solidities are large population spread over broader geographic area, increased complexity of division of labor, leading to a specialized economic function in which individuals are more reliant on the other to perform economic function which they cannot perform themselves. System of social relation in which individuals are linked to each other by contract rather than sentiment and obligation. You must remember contract. There is contract in a specialization in this system. A system in which individuals obtain their place in society by occupation rather than by kinship affiliation, by occupation rather than kinship, and increase individual autonomy based on a system law recognizing right and freedom of individual. The development of contract law, predicated or restitutive sanction, restitutive law, contract law rather than restitutive law means here is contract in which judicial rules redress social wrongs by restoring things to their original state. Broadly speaking, Durkheim identified two types of society which corresponds mechanical and organic form of solidarity. These are segmental societies which resemble mechanical solidarity and advanced society which correspond to organic solidarity. Durkheim used the term segmental to describe a type of society which is made up of a small group linked together in a defined social territory. Morrison explained the characteristics of Durkheim's segmental society in following way. They are made up of a small group, segmented, separated into tribes. They have close proximity to each other. They have division of labor which pattern their activities so that link of cooperation develop between the segments along domestic political lines. They produce a strong social bond between the segments which are formed by social relations based on common belief and social practices. And these are the social facts. Durkheim tried to explain three primary causes of division of labor. Firstly, the change in the geographical proximity or individual. The population begins to concentrate themselves. Population is important, and ignore confined areas instead of being spread over large territories. The presupposes a certain lightening in the social fabric as its human element come closer together and more geographically proximate. Second is the formation of cities which occur as the social densities increase and density depend upon the population. This creates an intensification of interaction between individuals leading to an increase in the overall social mass. As the social mass is increased, it tends to accelerate the mixing of segments into consolidated social organs. Third is the increase in social volume. This results when the growing social produces more transportation. The new form of interchange acts to suppress gap between segments, thus leading to an increase in moral density, intra-social relation, frequency of contract between individuals. So here we have understood about the On the basis of division of labor, there are two types of society: mechanical society or solidarity, or you can say unity, and on other hand, organic solidarity. In mechanical solidarity, least amount of division of labor, very least population, and there is no specialization, and no city has been developed, and there is group consciousness, and least amount of function. Everyone fulfill their own group. Kinship is dominates. But in other hand, restitutive law, that is a law which has mentioned earlier, that is called tit for tat. This law is called tit for tat in the mechanical solidarity, tit for tat law, and in organic solidarity of society, like there is restitutive law, not for tit for tat, and population is very high. Due to population very high, density of society is increased, and due to density of society increased, the division of labor increased, specialization increased, cities developed, communication developed, and law developed, contractual basis of society, contract. These are the differences between mechanical society and mechanical solidarity. Means unity. How solidarity come in mechanical? In collective consciousness, and these are the differences and growth of mechanical solidarity to organic solidarity of any society. So here we will discuss about abdominal division of labor. We have seen division of labor and function of division of labor. According to the division of labor, base of division of labor, there are two types of society: mechanical and organic solidarity. Here, Emile Durkheim described division of labor mainly two types. First one is general division of labor, that is functional, and abdominal division of labor, that is not functional, that is dysfunctional. So, in the last concluding section of the division of labor, Durkheim focused on question abdominal and pathological forms of division of labor. The term philosophy derives from the biological science and is primarily used to indicate the occurrence of disease in an organism. Durkheim believed that the social body, like human body, to this state as a form of social pathology, or more commonly abnormal form. In third volume of Division of Labor, Durkheim categorized three abdominal forms of division of labor are found in advanced societies. These are the anomic division of labor, forced division of labor, poor coordination of function resulting from the division of labor itself. The first abnormal form of division of labor is anomic division of labor. Durkheim believed that this type of division of labor arises because of industrial and commercial crises. These occur, wrote Durkheim, when social functions are not adjusted to each other. In this context, individual does not feel integrated to the society. Social norms and values seem unclear, uninterested, and individual does not feel morally involved with the affair of society. In the modern industrial society, where function and operation are specialized, individuals no longer feel that their common work unites them. Anomic division of labor, it seems, is the incomplete development from mechanical to organic solidity for the development of industrial society. A second form of social pathology is the process Durkheim referred to as forced division of labor. This type of division of labor arises of the external inequality that fail to product the natural demand of society. Thus, people might be allocated to position in the division of labor to which the talent or their ability. Such an abnormal form result in individual becoming frustrated and unhappy with their society. Asia consequences, the division of labor no longer meet the social need of cohesion, but rather serves the interest of certain social group. Indian caste system is one of the example of forced division of labor. The third abnormal form of division of labor arises of the poor coordination of function society. It is managerial deficiency where the enterprise is not organized to get the best and most out of its members. The more continuous and coordinated the various functions, the more solidarity grows and more skilled the workers become. In brief, Durkheim's study of division of labor brings out his functional model of society. Durkheim sees division of labor as a process that would help individual context cooperate to each other. In normal situation, division of labor contribute to social integration. Understand? And by giving each individual a specialized unity to perform, everyone unite and connect with each other. Division of labor arises as a result of the competition for survival brought about by growing material and moral density. A specialization offers a way whereby various individuals may coexist and cooperate. Durkheim does not merely look at the economic aspect of division of labor, but rather it is social aspect, its contribution to social integration. So main focus to how to integrate society and what are the role of division of labor for integrating society. That is why he told the title mechanical solidarity. He just want to know how solidarity is formed to organic solidarity. Here we will discuss about the suicide, very important topic from Durkheim. Durkheim books Lee Suicide actually in France, that is in French language in 1897 is cited as monumental landmark of the synthesis of conceptual theory and empirical research. He used the method of a statistical analysis displaying sociological realism. This method had two particular objectives in view: to refute theories based on psychology, biology, genetics, climatic, and geographical factor. Every factor that is not sociological, means psychological, biological, genetic, climatical, geographical, every factor which refers for suicide is refuted by Emile Durkheim to support with empirical evidence his own sociological explanation of suicide. Thus, the phenomenon of suicide demonstrate the function of sociological there in empirical science. Causes of suicide. Durkheim rejected extra social factor in the causation of suicide. The extra factor include hereditary, climate, race, mental factors such as alienation, psychological factor, economic factor, every factor that is out of social factor. He rejects every factor. According to Durkheim, causation of suicide should be referred to social structure. In the same way, Max Weber, R.K. Merton also described for social structure. And it ramifying function. These may perform three functions as inducement, perpetuation, and aggravation. of the suicide potential. The personal and psychoanalytical theories are similarly disposed of by Durkheim. As a matter of fact, the psychological and personal factor are the resultant of social conditions and not vice versa. Durkheim told that every condition, every facts are impacts of social condition. The indifference, hostility, aggression, and hatred are also the response of social condition rather than being a stimulator of social change. In cutting forward his view on society, Durkheim emphasized the pivotal role that society plays in the life of individual. According to him, it is the social circumstances and the influences of collective consciousness which are in the main responsible for phenomena of society. He says society is an act which society disapproves of expansion during. Durkheim also showed that prevailing social condition and mirror the collective consciousness all the alleged cause of society except Durkheim said about social condition. Durkheim said every factor for society is rejected that prevailed. Durkheim, for example, he has found a high suicide rate among persons living a state of abnormal marital status, disintegrative influence of disorganized family group, a well-knit family group. He contends exerts a wholesome and integrative influence upon its member and checks the development of any feeling in favor of committing suicide. This is not because of any magical influence of the marriage estate, or the family, but because of cohesive character of any intimate and closely knit social group that exerts its constant pressure upon its member to guard against any reckless distaste for life. That is why, according to Durkheim, men who have never enjoyed the affectional aspect of marriage, or those who have once enjoyed and lost it, widow or divorce, tend to commit suicide such more frequently than those who contact with the family group. So, Durkheim says that a person who are in family and committed to family, got married, they do not commit suicide. A similar explanation is given by Durkheim. A respect of religion is checking the suicide rate. This checking influence of religion says he is neither because of religious concepts themselves nor because of the widely accepted religious belief that self-destruction is sinful and religiously forbidden. It is rather because the religious life is the eminent form and concentrated expression of the whole collective life. So it is collective consciousness. Religious life is collective consciousness, and that is why he told about the function of religion: discipline, cohesion, vitalization, euphoria are the function. Religion, through its varied belief, tradition, practice, exerts a compelling regulatory and obligatory influence over the individual. Besides integrating them into one single moral community, with the stronger nature of this regulatory belief and practices, the solidarity and integrity of social life increase and the incidence of society decrease. In an opposite case, the individual are more apt to demoralize and prone to commit suicide. The Protestant Church, for example, lacks in an internal solidarity and as such has no institutional device to check its members effectively against suicide. In the Orthodox Catholic Jewish faith, on the contrary, this solidarity is their most basic feature, and therefore a lesser number of suicide is found among them. So Durkheim concludes that those people who are associated with religion and faith and they are going through the belief and norms of the religion, they do not commit suicide easily. So, due to the collective consciousness. Durkheim analyzes suicide under three general category. Durkheim has three, and fourth one is fatalistic. Egoistic, altruistic, anomic, and fatalistic. There are three types mainly, and you can say four types: egoistic, altruistic, anomic, and fatalistic. Egoistic suicide. Durkheim infers that an important type of suicide is caused by an insufficient participation by the individual in the life of group. Individual is isolated. In this type of suicide occurs when an individual feels himself too much isolated from the social group. This situation takes place when the integration of the individual with his social group is much disturbed, or when the internal cohesiveness of sufficient intensity is not maintained within a group. And our modern society, characterized by impersonal, self-centered, and secondary association and control, leave the individual socially isolated and entirely cut off from the normal contact of intimate, personal, and primary group life. This is why, no doubt, a great many suicides in modern society are a result of this situation. Durkheim comments on this situation in modern society as follows: suicide varies in inverse ratio to the degree of integration of the social group of which the individual is a part. In other words, suicide is a both concomitant of an index to the relative degree of social disorganization in modern society. An organized and integrated society places certain duties for the individual member to perform and regulate their behavior through certain rules and procedures. Every individual works under the regulative pressure of these rules and procedures and normally cannot go against them because they are the collective representation of the group itself. But in a disorganized and disintegrated society lacking in internal cohesiveness, the state of affairs is just the opposite. Every individual is free to plan and act according to his own caprice and is guided by the individual wishes and interests. He may even take law in his own hand and go to any extent to violate this social code. At a later stage, he finds to develop an attitude carelessness not only toward his group but also toward his own life itself. Thus, a disorganized society lays the foundation of personal disorganization in that degree which ultimately end in suicide. Altruistic suicide, second type of suicide. This type of suicide occurs when the integration of individual and the group is too close and intimate. In the same way, it is opposite, where in egoistic society, the individual feel isolated. Here, individual is more close to the group, so much so that he is controlled completely by the group without any regard for his personality or individuality. He is only a member of group and nothing more. He is only a member of group and nothing more, and therefore can be called upon to sacrifice even his life whenever required for the sake of the group. On moral ground, its justification is that it is taking of one's life for sake of a gain. Psychologically, it is based on the individual sense of duty, sacrifice himself for sake of larger social unity. In short, self-destruction is caused under the pressure of social need, moral code among the members of the primitive group. The pressure of moral codes combined with the psychology of duty, so powerful that people commit suicide mechanically, so most casually. And men and women who are old and invalid, women husband are dead, men or women who disagree the group through the socially designated for altruistic or co-option of certain group moral type of society. So in army you will find that a army person commits suicide, means in the war he is struggling with the enemy country and died, and you can say commit suicide. That is in the category of altruistic suicide. Durkheim plays in altruistic suicide. In anomic suicide, another important type of suicide has been described by Durkheim. Suicide, anomic, sudden breakdown of the social equilibrium, such arises from sudden business depression, inflation, etc. Suicide after bankrupt or after winning a lottery are example of this type. It follows, therefore, that such suicide are only conditioned by some sudden disastrous change in the life of an individual. But can his life, the punishment per se, or in other words, increase of poverty, is not an adequate explanation of such suicide, because the rate of suicide increase not only in case of several break in the equilibrium caused by sudden impoverishment, but also when caused by prosperity. So it is a lawlessness, you can say normlessness. The important fact to be noted in this connection is that many persons are unable to adjust themselves to such sudden and violent changes in their life organization. Under such circumstances, Durkheim says, suicide anomic solves their personal dilemma, since the individual has no way of restraining unlimited propensities. This must be done by some force exterior to him. Social desires can be regulated only by a moral force. Durkheim viewed the collective order as the only legitimate moral force that can effectively restrain the social and moral need, either directly and as a whole, or through the agency of one of its organs. Society alone can play this moderating role, for it is the only moral power superior to the individual, the authority of which he accepts. So, in short, Durkheim conceived the enemy as a social condition of formlessness or deregulation of normative structure, that is the failure of collective moral order to restrain the overweening ambition, greed and unlimited aspirations. And fourth one is fatalistic suicide. There is a little mentioned fourth type of suicide, fatalistic, that Durkheim discussed only in a footnote of suicide. Durkheim stated that whereas anomic suicide is more likely to occur in situations in which regulation is too weak, fatalistic suicide is more likely to occur when regulation is excessive. Durkheim described those who are more likely to commit fatalistic suicide as a person with futures pitilessly blocked and passions violently choked by oppressive discipline. As Durkheim cited the society of slaves who, seeing no alternative to enslavement under the master, takes their own life. In brief, Durkheim put forward three concepts making up as a social theory of suicide: egoistic, altruistic and anomic. The first two, suicide, egoistic and altruistic, explain suicide by looking at the framework of social attachment to society, which Durkheim called social integration. The third concept, anomic suicide, on the other hand, belong to framework which explains suicide by looking at the change in the regulatory machine of society. Egoistic suicide results from the lack of integration of the individual into a social group. The first type of suicide occurs due to overdeveloped individualism, while second is due to lack of development at the level of individual. Anomic suicide, in contrast, because of the reduction of regulatory mechanism of society. In fact, fatalistic suicide has little relevance in the real world. In this study, Durkheim displayed an extreme form of sociological realism. So here we will discuss a new topic that has been described by Emile Durkheim, that is called elementary form of the religious life. In this topic, we would come to know how religion evolved, what are the reasons behind it, what is the views of Emile Durkheim, what Emile Durkheim said about religion, what are the elementary forms of religion. So here we will look the thought of Emile Durkheim. Emile Durkheim has written, actually it is the book of Emile Durkheim, the elementary form of religious life, very important fourth major sociological work of Emile Durkheim. It was written between 1902 and 1911 and published in 1912. This work is often regarded as the most profound and original writing of Durkheim. The text is second-hand, a study of the religion of Australian aborigine. Durkheim never went to Australia, that is why it is called second-hand study, because he never went Australia but uses the studies of those who has investigated this tribe first-hand with some extra evidence from studies of native. That is why it is called second-hand study. Emile Durkheim, you can say secondary source of data, has taken from those who have studied directly. However, the study is based on the description and detailed analysis of clan system and totemic present in the arena tribe. You can say it is tribe of Australia. That is the real pronunciation of that tribe, Arunata. Actually, it is a spelling mistake. Arunata tribe. Emile Durkheim has been studied Arunata tribe and want to know how religion is working on that tribe. Arunata tribe of Australian aborigine, he assumed that all the essential aspects of religious life would be visible in the simplest religious form. The most simplest was totemic form. So you should remember this. Totemic form in society is most closest to the beginning of evolution of religion in terms of Emile Durkheim. And I would like to remind you, such types of question always asked in examination, like UGC NET, that if the question would be that religion has been emerged from totem, who told? And you will find there are so many options: Emile Durkheim, Max Weber, Karl Marx, and Auguste Comte. So you would answer that from totem religion is evolved. That is called by Emile Durkheim. In fact, Emile Durkheim presented what probably the most influential interpretation of religion from a functionalist perspective. So Emile Durkheim see the functionalistic aspect of religion. What are the function and benefits of religion? Durkheim began with a repetition of the regaining theories, the origin of religion, Tyler of animism and spirit of worship expression. Max Muller put forth the concept of naturalism, that is the worship of nature's force. But here we will remind here that Emile Durkheim refuted all the theory before that is given by Tyler or Max Muller. Tyler, that is animism, and Max Muller, that is naturalism, all refuted. Durkheim made an observation on his theory of religion that throughout his history worshipped any other reality, whether in the form of the totem or of God, than the collective social reality transfigured by faith. So he always focused the collective social reality. In fact, Buddhism, Christianity, Confucianism recognized as well as Spencer supported the notion as the most basic form of religious. Men have never no central god or deity. Basic purpose of work of Durkheim, here we will see why Durkheim want to study religion. The elementary form of religious life have 5 central aims. The first to study primitive religion, explain its basic structure. This Durkheim belief would lead to an understanding of religion and the religious nature of society, what society think about religion and what are the function of the religion. The second aim, according to Durkheim, is to arrive at an understanding of contemporary religions by going back to the most primitive. Can you understand that nowadays the contemporary religion, like any religion, Hinduism or Islam or Christianity, is there any background, or what is the primitive backbone? What is the reality of that religion? Why that religion evolved? He just want to think about it. He believed that only by going back to earliest religion, institution can be understand the nature of religious life. The third aim of their study is to undertake an examination of religion from the perspective of positive science. This is based on the rejection of earlier views on religion. So I would say here that Auguste Comte, first of all, refute all the theory regarding religion, animism, naturalism. This is he thought lead to the discovery of most elementary form of religious life is the base of social life, social fact, and that is the collective consciousness. The fourth aim of the study is look of the relationship between religious ideas and organization of bodies, knowledge, and system of classification. Finally, the fifth aim is to demonstrate that when reduced to its basic element, religion is nothing more than expression of society consecrated. So now we will look here the origin of religion according to animism. Durkheim rejects animism and of Tyler and Spencer, and naturalism of Max Muller as the explanation of the origin of religion. Both these theories, according to Durkheim, do not explain the distinction between the sacred and profane. Here I would like to make you understand very much clear that Durkheim joined the term sacred and profane in connection with religion. Religion is not a mystery, it is not belief in the transcendental God. It is not an illusion throughout history, any other reality than the collective social reality transfigured by faith and called God. Actually, Durkheim wants to say here that God is not there. There is the belief only, that is social reality. And social reality, everyone accepted, every members of society, means society makes God. God do not make society, whatever Durkheim said. Because society accept that there is God. Society give the assumption, society propose the theory that there is God. Durkheim explained the origin of religion with reference to totemism, an example of which to point out among the Australian tribe. He writes, totemism is the religion not of certain animal or certain man or certain image, but of kind of any anonymous and impersonal force. He talking about impersonal force, which is found in each these things without however being identified with any one of them. None possesses it entirely and all participate in it. So independent is it of the particular subject in which it is embodied, that it preceded them just as it is adequate to them. Individuals die, generations pass away and are replaced by other, but these forces remain ever present, living and true to itself. It quickens today's generation just as it quickened yesterday's, and as it will quicken tomorrow. Taking the word is very broad sense one, but it is an impersonal God, without a name, without history, abiding in the world and diffused in a countless multitude of things. The definition of religion at which Durkheim arrived, a religion is a system of belief. Here we just remember this. Durkheim has given the definition of religion. A religion is a system of beliefs and practices regarding the things which are sacred. Sacred is very important. That is to say, apart forbidden beliefs and practices which unite those who follow them in a single moral community called church. Here three things is very important. A belief of practice that is sacred, that unite and called, that is church. Church is just a social consciousness in terms of Durkheim. So I think you have understood about these things, and you can here the main and central theme of religion is sacred and profane. Whatever Durkheim has mentioned, we should know about this concept. The division between sacred and profane is the central principle of the social theory of religion, and in fact the most distinctive element of religious life. Durkheim wants to say that sacred is associated with religion. Any religion, anything that is related with sacred, that is religion. Suppose in Hinduism, if we are talking about Gita, Bhagavad Gita, if we are talking about Bhagavad Gita, that is sacred. If we are talking about the puja sthal and prayer place, that is sacred. If we are talking about Islam, if we are talking about Quran, that is sacred. If we are talking about Christianity, and if we are talking about Bible, so the religion is concerned with sacred, not profane. Not profane means impurity. Sacred means purity. So religion is associated with pure things. Durkheim believed that the sacred and profane form the basis of religious life. The sacred things human beings set apart, including religious belief, rites, deities, or anything, socially defined as requiring a special religious treatment, participation in the second sacred order, such as in rituals, ceremonies, gives a special prestige, illustrating one of the social function of religion. In the context of literature puts it, Durkheim concluded that society is the source of all religion in itself. Society has certain phenomena as sacred and other as profane. And those aspects of social reality that are defined as sacred, that is set apart from deemed forbidden, form the essence of religion. The rest are defined as profane. The everyday, that is not related with religion. Religion is always related with profane and purity of the things. Anything it is related with religion, that is called that is sacred and that is pure. The commonplace, the utilitarian, the mundane aspect of life, the sacred bring out an attitude of reverence, respect, mystery, honor. The respect accorded to certain phenomena transform them, the profane to the sacred. In fact, profane, according to Durkheim, is considered to be opposite to the sacred. In this respect, the profane is something subordinated in dignity and to the sacred, which has the capacity to contaminate the sacred. And to this extent, the sacred and profane are linked together. Durkheim mainly outlines 6 characteristics of sacred and profane. First, the sacred is always separated from all other objects, therefore constitute things set apart. Second, a system of rotes and social practices arises which set out how the sacred is to be approached, how members of the groups are to conduct themselves in the presence of sacred object. Third, sacred things are things protected by introduction, which have the force of prohibition and taboos, obviously. And fourth, sacred things are segregated form profane things and are thought to be superior in dignity. Suppose if we are talking about Hinduism and if we are talking about Bhagavad Gita is very sacred and different from other books. Bhagavad Gita is very superior book than other book. This is the main analysis. Fifth one is sacred and natural form, the spiritual world, and in this way provides society with a model of opposites such as good and evil. So sacred thing is good and there is evil thing, profane and clean and dirty. So there is clean in religion, holy, and so on. 6. Passage from the profane to the sacred must be accompanied by rites which are thought to transform one state into the other through rituals of initiation or rebirth. To give a specific definition of religion, Durkheim believed that 3 conditions are essential for the development of religion. The first, there must be the development of set of religious belief. You must remember this. These beliefs are the representation which expresses the nature of sacred thing and the relation which they sustain either with each other or with profane thing. Second, a set of religious rites are necessary. These are the rules of conduct which prescribed how a man should comport himself in the presence of these sacred objects. Finally, a religion requires church or a single sacred belief, right? And church led Durkheim to the following definition of religion. A religion is a unified system of belief and forbidden beliefs and practices which unite into one single moral community called church. All those who adhere to them, let us see how Durkheim grapples with the understanding of elementary form by considering the institution of totemism, which form the central part of the study. So this is how Durkheim said that totem is the base for religion. Totem, according to Durkheim, it can be an object, it can be a part of any animal, it can be a part of, it can be a head of the line, it can be a part of any birds. The totem, according to Durkheim, represent the group. 3 important facts. First, it represents the collective beliefs and social practice of the group to the individual who make it up. Suppose in Hinduism you will find that cow is very sacred. Why? Because the people who think and the collective belief have that cow is the mother, and this is the belief. Second, it represents the collective to itself historically in its legends and myths. And third, it represents the collective to self in the form of total social reality. So it has become social reality. And Durkheim maintains that it's not actually the animal or plant itself that he worshipped or held sacred, but a nameless and impersonal force which exists throughout the world and is diffused amongst all the material objects of the world. The totem thus are the material representation of the immaterial force that is their base, and that immaterial force is none other than collective conscience and collective consciousness of society. Durkheim stated, totemism is the religion not of such an animal or image, but of an anonymous or impersonal force, which is found in each of these beings, without however being identified with any one of these. None possess it entirely and all participate in it. So independent is it of the particular subject in which it is embodied, that it precedes them just as it adequate to them. So we have understood that totemism can be anything. In short, totemism is a symbolic representation of the collective conscience. You must remember this. This is the symbolic representation of collective consciousness, and it is derived from society. Therefore, society is the source of collective conscience, religion, and ultimately the concept of God. In real sense, Durkheim argued that the God and society are one and the same. Actually, God is society. Society accepts the God, and society assumes that there is God. And in fact, it remains true even today if religion is nothing but the indirect worship of society. Modern people need only express their religious feeling directly towards sacred symbolization of society. In the context, the worship of society strengthens the values and moral beliefs which form the basis of social life. In worshipping society, men are in effect recognizing the importance of social group and their dependence upon it. In this way, religion strengthens the unity of the group. It promotes social solidarity. And lastly, I will tell you one thing, that you have understood completely the topic of religion, how religion evolved, how Emile Durkheim refuted all the theory before him, Tyler and Max Hummel. And one thing I would like to say, Emile Durkheim discuss about the importance of religion in social life, and his all importance of religion has been discussed by Emile Durkheim, which has been told by Harry Alport in 4 categories. That is, Harry Alport discussed Emile Durkheim functionalism of religion function or importance in 4 categories. First one is discipline, and second one is cohesion, and third one is integration, and fourth one is euphorbia. Means religion brings discipline in human being. Religion brings unity in society. Everyone unite on the name of religion. Communal feeling, communal sentiment, communal unity, religious unity. And religion integrate the society. And religion give some happiness, euphorbia. Religion make us happy when we act, when we religious act, when we worship to in any kind of act by which his society or his religion give permission. The person who act religious, they feel very happy. So it is very functional, and it unites the society. It take the people of society in order, discipline. So social system is in order and functional. Society is working in a proper manner. I think you have understood everything, every part of religion according to Durkheim. The first one is evolution of religion, that is by totem, and cause of religion, that is society in itself. And religion is what? Society created, social consciousness, and the function and benefits of religion: discipline, cohesion, vitalization, euphorbia, many benefits. There are so many benefits of religion, and you can write it with your own understanding. Thank you very much.